Chapter 316, The Quick Moves of the Former Mother-in-Law. After dinner. Fang Hao, I'm taking Tian out. With these words, Zhou led the excited Fang Tian out. They arrived at the entrance of the community, where the nanny, the young daughter-in-law of the Zhou family, was already waiting in the car. Zhou said to her grandson, since you claim to know where Jia is and how to get there, you'll be the guide. If you lead us the wrong way, there won't be any good food or fun for you, and you'll have to go back to practicing writing. Grandma, I don't want to practice writing. Then it depends on your performance. Zhou let Fang Tian lead the way. Although she didn't have much hope, she had no other choice. Both Fang Hao and Su Ro were tight-lipped, so she had to find her daughter's new man herself. Having overheard Fang Hao and Su Ro mentioning their grandson's ability to remember routes, she decided to give it a try and let her grandson take the lead. To her surprise, they arrived at Tianyi Hospital. This was a private hospital. Was Jia inside? Zhou was puzzled but asked her grandson, wasn't Jia supposed to be learning dance acrobatics? Why is she here? If you're lying to Grandma, you'll go back to practicing writing, and I'll make you write until dawn. Grandma, don't punish me. Mom and Dad didn't want me to tell you. Jia is sick, and she's staying here. Her hair is shaved off. I know she's in that ward. I'll take you there. Fang Tian hurriedly explained, he was most afraid of his grandma now. If he didn't write well, he would get a spanking, and his dad wouldn't help him. If he sought help from his dad, he would end up getting double the punishment from his grandma. He opened the car door and ran ahead. Hey, wait for me. Zhou got out of the car and saw her grandson running through the pedestrian gate. The next moment, her scalp went numb with fear because, on the side, a car with bright headlights zoomed out from the corner, heading straight for her grandson. The car screeched to a sudden stop. Fang Tian stood in front of the car, blocking the glaring headlights with his hand. The security guard and Zhou hurried over. The security guard shouted, "Little kid, where did you run out from? It's too dangerous." Zhou went forward, scrutinizing Fang Tian, and asked, "Did you get hit?" "I didn't get hit." Fang Tian was a bit scared, not just because of the dazzling headlights and the piercing sound of brakes, but also because of his grandma's concerned look. He realized that he might be in trouble, and going back would mean getting scolded by his dad. Whose little brat is this? Zhou's sister? A very beautiful woman's face appeared at the car window, and it turned out to be Yue Xia Huo. She got out of the car and came to Zhou. Seeing that Zhou cared a lot about the child, and the little boy was very handsome, making him likable, she was briefly puzzled as he seemed to resemble someone. Yue Huo? Zhou also knew Yue Huo, and their relationship was quite good. Grandma, let's go inside. Jia is in there. Fang Tian, unaware of the danger, pulled his grandma, wanting to go inside. This is my grandson, Fang Tian. We're here to find someone. Yue Huo, if you weren't here, I wouldn't even remember this hospital. This hospital belongs to your Xing family, right? Yes. Yue Huo asked the security guard to step back first. She stared at Fang Tian and asked, Zhou's sister, is this your grandson, and his father, is he Fang Hao? Yes, Fang Hao is my son-in-law, and he is a doctor at the Provincial People's Hospital. Have you heard of him? Zhou felt gratified, thinking that Fang Hao had made a name for himself. Not only have I heard of him, but I've also met him. Your son-in-law is indeed an impressive figure. Yue Huo thought to herself that the person who had beaten up her big brother the past 2 nights was probably this kid. Grandma, let's go inside quickly. Fang Tian tugged at Zhou's hand, wanting to go inside. Whom are you looking for? My granddaughter, Fang Jia. She's being treated here. Really? Why haven't I heard about it? Let me call my brother. Yue Huo went to the car, took out a small bag, and made a phone call. Meanwhile, she watched as Fang Tian pulled Zhou inside. She followed them. Big brother, Zhou's sister is here, looking for her granddaughter Fang Jia. Do you know? Zhou's sister and her grandson. Fang Hao? They haven't come, right? They shouldn't have. What? Not allowed to let them in? They've already entered. You want me to delay them? I'll do my best. I understand, I won't say anything, I'll pretend not to know. Yue Huo hung up the phone, surprised that her big brother, Tian, refused to come out and receive Zhou. Instead, he instructed her to delay Zhou and prevent her from entering the main building's treatment area. Approaching them, Yue Huo directly picked up Fang Tian, examining him, and said, Little boy, you're really handsome. You're like a younger version of your dad. You've really inherited the most beautiful genes from your dad. Fang Tian resisted being held, struggling to get down, pushing Xing Yuehua's shoulders with his little hands. Tian, don't be naughty. Be careful not to fall. Let Auntie Xing hold you for a while. Zhou didn't suspect anything. Fang Tian stopped resisting, but after a while, he claimed he needed to pee, so Xing Yuehua had to put him down. With a quick whoosh, he ran into the green belt. A wild child, like father like son, both are savages. Xing Yuehua felt disdainful but didn't expect that Fang Tian, after crossing the green belt, took a shortcut and ran to the steps in front of the main building. He even shouted for his grandma to hurry up. This kid. Xing Yuehua noticed Zhou running over and had no choice but to follow. Delaying them was impossible. Fang Tian ran to the side of the elevator, understanding how to occupy it, leaving Xing Yuehua helpless. Arriving at the ward, Fang Tian found it empty. He panicked and quickly said to Zhou Grandma, last time when Mom and I came, Jia was here. He ran into the accompanying room, took out a toy, and said, Grandma, look, this is the toy I brought for Jia. Zhou came in, saw familiar clothes in the wardrobe, as well as some personal items, and believed Fang Tian's words. She asked Xing Yuehua, where is my granddaughter? I don't know. Let me ask my brother. Xing Yuehua couldn't provide an answer, so she stepped out to make a call. However, she saw the deputy dean approaching. Sister Yuehua, let me handle this. Xing Yuehua nodded, entering the ward. She smiled and said, Professor Zhou, I didn't expect you to come. I apologize for not welcoming you from a distance. Please forgive me. Zhou asked, Are you Guanggu? Why are you here? The financial manager said, Professor Zhou still remembers me. I'm truly honored. I am now the deputy dean here and also serve as the financial commissioner. Oh, I'm quite familiar with your daughter Su Ro. When she knew you were here, she asked me to tell you that she transferred Jia to the United States for treatment. She left yesterday. Yesterday? This girl, why didn't she tell me anything? What's my granddaughter's illness? Don't hide it from me. Tell me everything. Zhou felt disappointed. Her daughter had hidden this from her. Leukemia. No matching bone marrow was found in China, and the chemotherapy had poor effects. Just when we received good news from abroad, she was transferred overseas. Leukemia? Zhou frowned and asked, Can't you do anything here? No way. We've tried our best, but this disease is too tricky. Professor Zhou, since you've come all this way, how about having a cup of tea in our office? Next time. Zhou left with her grandson, heading straight home. She needed to question Fang Hao. She couldn't believe that Fang Hao couldn't do anything. In times of illness, big or small, she only believed in her son-in-law. Chapter 317, Need to Continue Deceiving. Ding ding. Fang Hao was impatient because his ex-wife had been calling continuously, disrupting his peace. Reluctantly, he answered. So Ro, what do you want? Husband, it's bad. My mom found Tianyi Hospital, and she already knows about Jia's illness. What should we do? In the phone call, the ex-wife's voice sounded anxious. Tian. Fang Hao suddenly realized that his son must have led his former mother-in-law. He underestimated the intelligence of his ex-mother-in-law. He said, knowing is just a matter of time. You have to be mentally prepared for your own misdeeds to be exposed. Later, you explain it to your mom. Husband, don't be like this. My mom can't accept it. What does it have to do with me? Husband, considering I'm carrying your 2 children, please don't be so heartless. The test results for Jia are out, and the experts here say it's not optimistic. They asked me to prepare mentally. Without you by my side, with no relatives around, I really don't know who I can rely on. Husband, I really want you to be by my side at this moment, to give me a reliable shoulder. As long as you are there, I won't have to worry about these things. Pa! Stop with these useless words. Go rely on your old lover. Husband, besides you, no one is reliable. I just want to depend on you. Depend on me? Didn't you plant a bomb in my place? Don't you want to destroy me? Husband, that was just angry words. You mentioned remarriage, and I couldn't bear to lose you. I don't have the ability. I love you so much, how could I bear to hurt you? This woman intentionally showed weakness. It seemed she really had some leverage in her hands. What exactly was it? Fang Hao said, Jia is the offspring of you and your old lover. Explain this to your mom. My mom won't ask about that. She'll only ask why I didn't tell her about the illness and why I didn't let you treat it. Just say you didn't want her to worry, and you were powerless. Stick to these 2 points. My mom believes in you, she listens to you the most. Suoro, you're quite skilled at lying. Fang Hao hung up the phone, feeling a headache. The phone rang again, and he thought it was from his ex-wife. He almost hung up without looking. It was Li Dong's wife calling, informing Fang Hao that Qingyu had managed to shake off the surveillance from Li Jun's group. If she came to find Fang Hao, he shouldn't open the door, their people were on the way. Why would Qingyu come to me? She left the Qing family and Li family, she must be going to see Xingling Tian. Fang Hao suddenly realized that the ex-wife's display of weakness and pleading on the phone might be genuine because Xingling Tian didn't accompany her to the United States. Suoro, you are a master manipulator, but your old lover is even better at manipulating. You go abroad, and there's immediately a new woman to keep the old man company. Thinking of this, Fang Hao couldn't help it, he dialed Suoro's number directly. He said, someone told me that your good friend Qingyu is now with your old lover. Qingjie? Who told you? I understand why you sounded so pitiful just now. It turns out you're unwanted. Husband, you. Haha. Sorry, I couldn't hold back, I burst out laughing. Let me tell you some good news. I'm going on a blind date tomorrow. With us separated by thousands of miles, let's see how you can blow me up. Fang Hao hung up the phone, not knowing if he had laughed too hard. He wiped a tear from the corner of his eye, and it turned out to be a tear. 10 minutes later, the doorbell rang, and he went out to see 2 personnel wearing prosecutors' uniforms. They were here to inquire about Qingyu's situation. He informed them that Qingyu hadn't come and allowed them to enter and inspect every room. A few minutes later, Li Jun arrived and told Fang Hao that his cousin was causing a commotion at home, emotionally agitated. He thought she was coming to find Fang Hao. She's going to find Xingling Tian. Fang Hao nodded knowingly, if you want to find her, you'll have to go through Xingling Tian. Xingling Tian had too many industries in Jiangdong City, it was difficult to locate those registered, let alone those unregistered. Anyway, as long as his cousin didn't come to him, it wouldn't bring him trouble. Li Jun smoked a cigarette, chatted casually, and then left. Not long after, Zhou Fun, Su Buiyuan, and Fang Tian came back together, surprising Fang Hao a bit. Go play in the room, don't disturb the adults when we're talking. Zhou Fun ushered the grandson out and then poked Fang Hao's head with her finger, annoyed and helpless. Jia has such a serious illness, and you didn't tell us. Do you really not consider us as elders and family? Su Buiyuan added, indeed, Fang Hao, both you and Su Ro did wrong in this matter. Regardless of how you 2 adults quarrel, Jia is still a child, innocent. You shouldn't risk her life like this. Innocent? Jia is innocent, but what about me? Fang Hao said, Suoro told me not to tell you. You know your daughter's personality, once she's stubborn, no one can persuade her. Why don't you call and ask her to explain? Zhou Fun said, we will find her, and we might even go to the United States ourselves to see how Jia is doing. But now that you are here, let's criticize you first. Su Buiyuan added, Fang Hao, what you did was not smart. Jia is your daughter, seriously ill, and you are a professional doctor. Your opinion should take precedence, not listen to Su Ro, who is pregnant and has no medical knowledge. Jia is not my daughter, she's the wild seed of your daughter and Xingling Tian. Fang Hao disagreed, saying, I did try. But Su Ro insisted that Jia is hers, and I only have visitation rights, not the right to guardianship. Moreover, you should know, I'm unknown, young, and not professional. She trusts doctors recommended by others more. For example, yesterday, she insisted on sending Jia for treatment abroad. What could I do? On the other hand, now that you know, will you let me take charge? I believe you. Fang Hao, tell me, if you were really in charge, how confident are you? Fang Hao didn't look at the 2 but stroked his face, lowering his head, find a matching bone marrow and perform a direct transplant. It can achieve a cure. Zhou Fun asked, then did you all go for bone marrow typing? Wasn't there a suitable one? Su Buiyuan added, Tian, being one of the dragon and phoenix twins, also didn't match? Yes. Fang Hao's voice was very low. In theory, same egg twins were 100% compatible and could undergo bone marrow matching. However, Tian and Jia were non-identical twins, not sharing the same biological father, so they were not completely compatible. Suoro, look at the mess you've made. A night of passion, and you actually. Suddenly, Fang Hao's phone received a message, a WeChat video sent by his ex-wife. From the footage, it showed a bald child lying on a hospital bed, wearing an oxygen tube. He opened it, and tears burst out like a torrent. "So, you've gone too far. Relentless." In the short 5-second video, Yue Xia cried out, "Dad, I want to see Dad. Dad, I want to go home." Chapter 3:18, Call Mom Again. "Xiaoro, where is Yue Xia?" Zhou also teared up. "Xiaoro, it's me. Accept the video call." After sending a voice message, Su Buiyuan initiated a video call to Su Ro. However, Su Ro rejected the call and replied with a voice message filled with crying, "Dad, Yue Xia is crying non-stop. I'll comfort her first, and I'll explain to you later." But Zhou disagreed, saying, "Start the video now." Su Ro responded, "Mom, what are you doing? I'm alone with 3 children, and I can't handle it all. But I can't let you share the burden. Listen to your husband, take care of yourselves." Zhou insisted, "In which city are you? Your aunt, cousin, and niece are all there. I'll ask them to come and help you a bit." Su Ro said, "We'll talk about it later." After a few more reminders, Zhou noticed her daughter hadn't responded. She looked at Fang Hao, who seemed a bit numb, and said, "You don't need to be sad anymore. The situation has already happened, and we need to find a solution." Su Buiyuan also wiped his eyes and said, "Yes, we need to find a solution. I'll call the embassy, ask them to help check Su Ro's entry and exit records, as well as the hospitalization records for Yue Xia. Once we have the information, we'll go over there. Hurry up," Zhou urged. Su Buiyuan went to the study to make the call. Fang Hao hesitated, thinking that Su Ro and Zhengling Tian didn't want anyone to know that Yue Xia was their daughter. How could they possibly stay in an official hospital? The best treatment resources in the United States were in private hospitals, especially non-profit private hospitals. He didn't hold much hope for this. Even though he wanted to know, he also hoped that Su Buiyuan would check, both to test Su Buiyuan's credibility and to make Su Ro and the others feel the pressure of potential exposure at any time, preventing them from living comfortably. He was conflicted, on the verge of collapse. If Su Buiyuan and Zhou found out about his past history, more people would be implicated. The fact that Yue Xia was not his daughter might not be able to be concealed. During this period, inevitably, some smart people would see through the strangeness of having same-egg twins with different fathers. There was only one possibility for his ex-wife: she had relations with 2 men consecutively, and it happened in a short period. Maybe more than once. Recently, Fang Hao thought Zhengling Tian only intervened on the night of his wedding, as they left for their honeymoon the next day. During the honeymoon, although they were said to be inseparable, considering Zhengling Tian's debauchery, influence, and Su Ro's shamelessness, there might be a possibility of illicit affairs even under his nose. Of course, the night of the wedding was the most likely occasion. If such a thing were exposed, where would their faces be? After an hour of contacting, Su Buiyuan came to the living room and said, "I've contacted everyone I could. Now it's daytime over there, and we should have news soon." He looked at Fang Hao and continued, "Once I find Su Ro, I can't let her act on her own. You're a doctor, tell me, how confident are you in treating this disease? To treat or not to treat?" She's Zhengling Tian's seed, the wild seed of Su Ro and Zhengling Tian. Why should I treat her? Fang Hao was conflicted. However, the word dad from his daughter just now made him feel a sudden surge of emotions. Every little bit of raising his daughter over the past 3 or 4 years flooded into his mind in an instant, making him both happy and unable to extricate himself. Even keeping a pet, a cat, a dog, would form a bond. What about a living, obedient daughter? He said, "The problem is not with me, it's with Su Ro." Su Buiyuan interrupted, "Let's leave Su Ro aside for now. Just talk about Yue Xia. You're a doctor, and more importantly, you're her father. Tell me, can you cure her?" "I'll do my best." Fang Hao gritted his teeth. "Alright, I'll go figure out a way to find Su Ro and have her bring Yue Xia back." Su Buiyuan didn't stay longer and left. As little Tian came out and expressed his tiredness, saying he wanted to sleep, Zhou suddenly remembered and said, "Fang Hao, quickly check on Tian. He almost got hit by a car just now." Fang Hao was startled and promptly examined his son carefully, checking his pulse on both wrists. Satisfied that everything was fine, he allowed Tian to take a bath before putting him to bed. Once he came out, he noticed Zhou clutching her chest in apparent pain. He hurried over and asked, "What's wrong? Are you having an episode again?" He grabbed her hand and proceeded to check her pulse. A bit of chest discomfort. These days, you've been on business trips and applying for projects, working hard. Your previous heart condition may resurface. I've reminded you before, your work can be handled by others, and Fei and the rest can manage it well. But your life is yours alone. You should prioritize saving your life. However, you treat it as a joke. If you lose your life, what meaning does all this have? Oh, come on. You're a doctor, is this how you talk to patients? No wonder your reputation at the hospital is not great. Will I really have a relapse? Do you think I'm just trying to scare you? I'm stating a fact. Unpleasant truths are hard to swallow, whether you choose to accept it is up to you. Let me give you some acupuncture first. I'll go to the hospital later to get some medication. Tomorrow morning, I'll conduct another examination, and I'll arrange for a CT scan to be cautious. Fang Hao guided his mother-in-law into the guest room and performed acupuncture on her. As he was about to leave the room, he heard Zhou voice, "Fang Hao, can't you call me mom again?" Fang Hao hesitated for a moment, didn't turn around, and with a slightly trembling voice, he said, "Mom, get some rest for now." "Okay, I'll listen to you." Zhou face suddenly lit up with a relieved expression. Nothing could compare to the comfort brought by hearing that one word, Mom. Fang Hao went downstairs and was intercepted by Li Jun near the car. "Dr. Fang, where are you going so late?" "To the hospital." "Which hospital?" "The Provincial People's Hospital." "Let me through, my family member is ill, and I need to pick up some medicine from the hospital." Seeing Li Jun step aside, Fang Hao pondered, thinking, as if I can't go to another hospital? Without thinking much about the affairs of the Cheng and Li families, he quickly went to the hospital. Using his name, he prescribed some medication related to heart conditions, rushed back, and had Zhou take the medicine. After accompanying her for a while until she fell asleep completely, Fang Hao went back to be with his son. Tian was sleeping just like before, experiencing nightmares during his sleep. He was calling out for his mom, a sight that made Fang Hao feel deeply distressed. Tian, fortunately, you are still young and don't understand what the current situation implies. But when you grow up and find out about the good deeds your mom did, how will you face it? Dad is useless, trusting your mom wrongly. If I had known 4 years ago that your mom was such a woman, I wouldn't have fallen in love with her, wouldn't have married her. Then, you might be born into another family and lead a happier life. Your mom loves you too. She will do a lot for you, fulfill her duties as a mother. But, she loves her old lover more, loves the daughter she has with him. In front of her old lover and their daughter, both you and I become less important. Will your mom come back? Probably, because her old lover is getting old, and with a frail health, he might not live much longer. Your mom won't want to be lonely, and she will think about coming back. Son, when that time comes, how will you choose? Suro, look at what you've done. You've destroyed all this goodness completely. Chapter 319, Arrogance and Success. The next day, Fang Hao took Zhou to the hospital for a chest x-ray. Not finding any abnormality, he felt relieved. He gave some instructions to the accompanying Zhou family daughter-in-law, especially emphasizing that Zhou should take her medication on time. In the ward, there was an urgent call, so Fang Hao went over. To his surprise, Qing Lao's complexion didn't look good at all. Although he was curious, upon examining Qing Lao's legs, he found that the recovery was progressing slowly, showing slight improvement compared to yesterday. He wanted to ask, but seeing Li Dong's daughter-in-law signaling beside him, he knew it might be an internal family matter. He resisted the urge to inquire further. Grandma didn't sleep much last night. Dr. Fang, can you prescribe some sleeping pills? Li Dong's daughter-in-law asked after Fang Hao finished the examination. In fact, last night, Qing Lao had asked the nurse for sleeping pills, but upon checking the prescription, the nurse found that Fang Hao had not prescribed any sleeping pills, so she dared not act without authorization. No need. When I do acupuncture later, I'll change the technique a bit, and Grandma Qing will be able to sleep peacefully. Fang Hao thought, it seems that something has happened to the Qing family. If Qing Lao is so worried that he can't sleep, it should be a significant issue. Is it related to Xingling Tian? It's highly possible, only someone like Xingling Tian could cause such a disturbance and make the Qing family restless. He really wanted to know what happened but was afraid that asking might complicate matters. After a short treatment, Qing Lao fell asleep. Fang Hao said, let me know when you want her to wake up, and I'll come to remove the needles. Li Dong's daughter-in-law found it a bit magical and asked, if you don't remove the needles, she won't wake up? It's not like that. This effect can only last until noon. Fang Hao had a clever idea and asked, what exactly is bothering your mother-in-law so much? Oh, it's because of Xiao Yu's matter. It's too embarrassing, better not to mention it. Oh, Xiao Yu won't bother you anymore in the future, you can rest assured. Li Dong's daughter-in-law felt a bit embarrassed. She still felt that Fang Hao had a liking for Yu. Sharing Yu's situation would make Fang Hao feel awkward. After all, who wouldn't feel uneasy seeing the woman they liked kissing an old man? It's indeed Yu. She went to find Xingling Tian last night. Was she exposed on the spot? What happened to Xingling Tian? Fang Hao asked, what happened to her? Grandma doesn't want me to tell you, fearing it might distract you. Recently, there are too many things distracting me. Yu's matter is just a minor issue. Is something wrong with her? Yes, something happened, and it's quite significant. Dr. Fang, I can only tell you this much. Rest assured, Yu won't bother you anymore. She doesn't deserve you. Forget about her. A significant issue? Fang Hao was a bit puzzled. If Li Dong's daughter-in-law considered it a big deal, it probably wasn't minor. But he couldn't know the specifics. Li Jun's words last night seemed to hint that Yu was in trouble, possibly admitted to the hospital. However, Cheng's family wouldn't arrange for Yu to stay in the provincial people's hospital. Therefore, Li Jun asked me which hospital, assuming I knew about Yu's hospitalization. This matter must be related to Xingling Tian. I wonder if I can use this to my advantage? A nurse came in, saying that Director Zhou wanted Fang Hao to come over to the main building. Fang Hao concluded the conversation and went to the main building. Zhou Long maintained a polite demeanor with a friendly smile on his face. He even personally poured a cup of tea for Fang Hao, saying, Fang Hao, the severe myasthenia gravis patients you treated, although not completely cured, are now able to lead normal lives. They have all been discharged, which is a great achievement. I also saw the paper you published. Your proficiency in foreign languages is impressive. Some words took me quite a while to understand their meaning. Your article is likely to be one of the top papers in the medical field this year. So, the only reason I called you here is for you to continue treating patients in this area. I'm entrusting you with my project. Fang Hao declined, saying, President Zhou, I can't accept this. The severe myasthenia gravis patients I treated were accepted when Director Lu Jing was still here, and the treatment plan was devised by her. I can't handle it alone. Your project is of great importance, and I am not capable of taking on such responsibility. Please find someone else for the job. Zhou Long's expression darkened. However, Fang Hao continued, in a few days, many expert doctors are coming to take over the positions of department heads or vice department heads. Among them, you can select skilled individuals to take charge of your project. I'm just a gopher, and my personal life is in chaos. I'll be busy with my private matters. He pretended to look distressed and left. In reality, even if he had the qualifications, being given a position as a department head or vice department head would make him feel uneasy. Now, he was being asked to take on the responsibility of a major project, which chilled him. The results of the myasthenia gravis research had already been published by Fang Hao and Lu Jing, so Zhou Long's plan to take credit for Fang Hao's achievements failed. His myasthenia gravis research project turned into a quagmire, trapping Zhou Long. In the corridor, Fang Hao encountered Yang Wenjin. She asked, Fang Hao, I invited you to join the leaders' dinner last night, but you didn't come. Do you know that your name was mentioned by the leaders? Your absence had a bad impact. Write a self-reflection. Do you think I'll write it or not? Fang Hao sneered, glanced at Yang Wenjin, and walked towards the elevator. Yang Wenjin was stunned because she felt Fang Hao's disdain. People come and go. Once she retreated and was later rehired, she would lose all authority. Although Fang Hao had saved many patients and was highly skilled, he only held the position of an attending physician who had recently been promoted to an associate chief physician. It was like a dragon entering shallow waters and being played with by shrimp, or a tiger falling to the plain and being bullied by dogs. Yang Wenjin went to Zhou Long's office and saw him still in a rage, especially since there was a broken cup on the ground. She asked, Fang Hao? A small doctor like him made you so angry? Zhou Long said, this little bastard doesn't listen to orders. He clearly knows how to treat severe myasthenia gravis, but he pretends to be ignorant and unresponsive. He doesn't even consider me as the hospital president. I want to fire him. Yang Wenjin said, fire him? Then you'll have to find someone to take over his patients, especially that Cheng Lao. I've investigated, only Fang Hao can treat her. Other doctors and experts are helpless. Zhou Long said, Fang Hao is relying on this to make me hesitate. Otherwise, I would have fired him just now. Later, talk to Cheng's family and ask them to bring Cheng Lao back to Moon Bay. Cheng Lao won't come back if she doesn't recover. If she recovers, she definitely won't come back. So, for now, Fang Hao can't be touched. Then tell Fang Hao that if he doesn't listen for a day, he'll have no actual position for a day. That's not crucial. Zhou Long, I've heard a rumor that your family wants you to choose a hospital in the capital, and you've agreed? Zhou Long nodded and said, hospitals in the capital are undoubtedly better than the provincial People's Hospital, with a much larger platform. Although Secretary Gua is coming back to recover, he is just a small sesame seed in the capital. There are many more important figures. If I go there, I'll be promoted 3 levels at once, with a chance to reach the department level. Yang Wenjin frowned and said, but we support you here. Zhou Long laughed and said, Old Yang, you need to have a longer-term perspective and a broader vision. You will see a more beautiful scenery. The hospital president here is only a department-level position. Over there in the capital, it's at least at the bureau level. If I go there, I can be promoted 3 levels. There's even a chance to reach the ministry level. Yang Wenjin was dumbfounded. From Zhou Long's smile, she also sensed being looked down upon. She felt very uncomfortable and secretly cursed Zhou Long as a heartless wolf who became arrogant and forgot his roots. She went out and came to her office. Taking out another phone with the contact name Master Ling Tian, she dialed the number. Chapter 320, First Love. In the evening, after work, Fang Hao picked up his son and noticed that his ex-mother-in-law, Zhou Fen, wasn't at home. This was unexpected because he had specifically told Zhou Fen not to go to work. He called Zhou Fen, and she answered, revealing a shocking piece of news: Zhou Fen had gone to meet Ling Tian. Without thinking, Fang Hao blurted out, "What are you doing? With your health like this, running around like this, are you trying to kill yourself? Come back quickly." "I'm not planning to do anything. Just meeting an old classmate for a chat. Your dad is also here. Don't worry about me. Have dinner with Tian tonight, we might be back around 9. "Fine, let me know if there's any situation." Fang Hao's heart was raised, feeling anxious and uneasy. After some thought, he realized that Zhou Fen probably didn't know about the relationship between Su Rou and Ling Tian, otherwise, her tone wouldn't be so casual. While contemplating, Fang Hao received a call from his ex-wife, Su Rou. When he answered, she directly scolded him. "Fang Hao, you jerk. Why are you letting my mom run around? She went to the hospital this morning for a checkup, and you prescribed heart-related medication for her. Is it a relapse? If that's the case, you should let her rest at home." Fang Hao responded, "Blame me? Your mom is like this because of you. Don't always find fault with me whenever something happens. Have you ever thought that this is your responsibility?" Su Rou said, "Husband, I know I have a responsibility, but I'm not by your side now, nor by my mom's side. How can I bear it? Don't worry, when this is over, I'll take responsibility. If you want to scold me, curse me, or even kill me, I won't object. As long as you're happy." She continued, "I sent the latest test report for Jia Jia to your email. Husband, Jia Jia really wants to see you. She misses you so much." Fang Hao gritted his teeth and said, "She is the daughter of you and Ling Tian. Don't tell me these useless things. On the day of our divorce, you didn't even let me examine her or touch her. You were overjoyed, no, ecstatic. Su Rou, don't deceive yourself." He opened his email and quickly found some key data. He discovered that although chemotherapy had been used, this method, which sacrificed a lot to kill the enemy, would cause great harm to Jia Jia's body. The best solution was a bone marrow transplant. "Husband, I was wrong that day. I ignored your feelings, and I truly apologize. You have regrets? Do you think I don't know what kind of person you are? I didn't tell your parents anything. If they find out something, it's because you left evidence, or your foxtail was too long and got exposed." Fang Hao guessed that Ling Tian had given Su Rou information, informing her that her parents wanted to meet him, and Ling Tian couldn't refuse. Su Rou was worried that Fang Hao had reported it, so she called to test the waters. In one sentence, everything became clear. However, saying such things might infuriate the two elderly people. Although Cheng Lao and Ling Tian were distant, Cheng Lao was infuriated to the point of almost having arrhythmia when he saw Cheng Yu and Ling Tian together. What Li Jun hinted at was enough to make Cheng's old man vomit blood on the spot. Given Su Buiyuan and his wife's relationship with Xingling Tian, if they found out, it might indeed trigger an uncontrollable reaction. Fang Hao thought of something else and asked, "What happened between Qingyu and your old lover last night? Why are you asking about this? Don't you know? I'm far away, 100,000 miles away. I still have to take care of Jia. How could I have the leisure to know about these things? Are you concerned about Qingyu? Have you been seduced by that rotten woman? Husband, you are a hypocrite. You say I'm dirty, but Qingyu is not clean either. I gave birth to a son for you. I'm much better than Qingyu, right? Disgusting." Fang Hao hung up the phone. His ex-wife actually suspected that he had been seduced by Qingyu? What did she mean? Jealous? Does she want to warn me again? Su Ro, what kind of woman I choose has nothing to do with you. After hanging up the phone, contemplating for a moment, although he had no connection with Qingyu, and he didn't want to get involved, he still decided to find Qingyu and understand what happened last night. Although there were many hospitals in Jiangdong City, there were only a few tertiary hospitals. He messaged leaders he knew in the TCM Hospital, Second Hospital, Maternal and Child Health Hospital, and others, inquiring about the presence of a patient named Qingyu. Both Director Jean and Director Jiang quickly responded, stating that there was no patient named Qingyu. Li Xiaoxi also replied, but through a video call. She was currently enjoying a hot spring and invited him to join. Disgusting. Naturally, Fang Hao refused. He visited his son and noticed that his interest in writing was not high. Considering that tomorrow was the weekend, and his son didn't have to go to kindergarten, he decided to take his son out, go shopping at the mall, and then visit an amusement park. "Uncle." Fang Hao heard someone calling him and turned to see the neighbor's child from before, Dong Xiaohu. Beside him was the still beautiful Ruili. "Hey, Fang Hao, didn't expect to meet you here." Seeing Fang Hao, Ruili's face involuntarily flushed. She wanted to get closer to Fang Hao but felt ashamed because her desire to sleep with him was so shameless. Yeah, what a coincidence. Fang Hao patted Xiaohu's head, letting Xiaohu and his son play in the pool. He then went to buy 2 drinks, giving one to Ruili, and sat on a nearby stool. Seeing that Fang Hao had grown some facial hair, Ruili felt that he had matured a lot. She asked, "How have you been lately?" "The same as usual. What about you?" Fang Hao casually replied, his eyes on his son and Xiaohu playing happily. Suddenly, he had a thought, if Ruili divorced, and they formed a new family, his son probably wouldn't object. But this thought was denied in the next second. Reforming a family with a divorced woman with a child could lead to long-term and chronic troubles. In the beginning, when the two were passionate, everything could be hidden. However, when the passion faded, every little friction would be magnified and compared. Both sides would compare the current and former partners in terms of intimacy, time spent together, scale, and happiness. In daily life, they would be compared in terms of care, understanding, character, and hobbies. For educating children, it would be challenging since they were not biologically related. They couldn't hit or scold them, making it very difficult. I and Lao Dong have agreed to divorce. However, considering his career and Xiaohu's future, we haven't applied for the divorce certificate yet, but we've already separated. Fang Hao, I now understand that Lao Dong can't change his ways. He still likes his first love. Ruili spoke in a low voice, he's trying to anger me. He actually secretly brought that old woman back. Now that I'm back, I feel like everything in the house has been used by that old woman. It makes me sick. Fang Hao, can you help me find a job in the hospital? I want to work, otherwise, I'll go crazy. Prepare a resume later. I'll see what you're suitable for. Even if there's no suitable position in the hospital, I'll ask friends to introduce you. Getting a job shouldn't be a problem, but whether you can handle it and plan for the future depends on your ability and effort. Fang Hao felt even more determined that his ex-wife wouldn't come back. Because that old thing was probably also his ex-wife's first love.